You made me have to run over to my my camera setup. Yeah, man. How you doing, man?
I'm
turning the light. Yeah, I'm a big fan of yours, man. I like the work that you're doing.
We're having a conversation about Hakimi, the footballer, who gave his trust to his fund instead of his wife. I don't know if you've heard the story.
Yeah, I've heard the story. I think that was a smart move. I don't agree with the laws that say that a wife should get 50%. I mean, I think it works on the low end, like the average person, because if you have two people working, you know, the woman did, you know, contribute to the accumulation of wealth. But on the upper end, like obviously he made 99% of the money. So she should walk away with something, but not half.
Not half. Not half.
Not half. Not half.
I know you're busy, so I'm not going to take too much of your time. The dollar seems to be in a crisis. What's your advice? And what?
I wouldn't, like, I'm here in the United States, I wouldn't keep any cash in the banks because I just don't trust it. And like I said, I'd rather invest my dollars. I keep under $20,000 in cash in both my business and my, because it's almost better. Let's say you got 100,000 in your business. You better invest it in advertising because the dollar is dropping so fast with inflation and what's happening in the world that the money in the bank is losing value faster than almost anything else you could do. So it'd be better off to spend it on advertising, you know, and can bring in more business rather than let it sit there. That's what I'm doing.
Another quick question. Malaysia, Saudi Arabia, Russia, and South Africa building their own currency. What is your take? That's
a very big threat to the United States. And I think it'd probably down the line lead to some kind of war because, you know, most wars, if people don't realize this, almost every war in history, 99% were economic. Now, they'll tell you it's something else. They'll tell you it's for freedom or it's to fight this. It's always an economic reason. World War II, World War I, the American Civil War, the War for Independence in France, even small wars in Africa, they're all based on some kind of financial resources. It's always like that. But you may not understand that. They may trick the participants into believing it's about something else. But the people who control everything, it's always about money. So I think that eventually it'll lead to some kind of conflict. I don't know how big or how small, but I think it'll eventually lead to conflict.
I agree with you 100%. Let's talk about crypto. There's been a quick surge in Bitcoin and Ethereum. I sold my Ethereum at $1,800. Today, I'm regretting because it's $2,000 plus.
Yeah.
What do you think the future holds for Bitcoin, for Ethereum? And are there coins you would advise people to watch, speculate on, or rush by at this period?
Yeah, so in Bitcoin and crypto, right, is that Bitcoin is in a 4-year cycle. I've been in Bitcoin and crypto since 2011. There's a 4-year cycle because in Bitcoin, there's something called the halving. You guys know about that? Bitcoin halving happens every 4 years. So every 10 minutes, a certain number of Bitcoins are given to the market, more or less. Right now, it's 6.25 Bitcoins every 10 minutes are created. Right, so the creator created a system that every 4 years he cuts that supply in half. It's called the halving. So the last one was in 2020 when Bitcoin was around $4,000 or $5,000. When you cut the supply, like if you cut the supply of oil, it causes the demand. The demand goes up and the price goes up. So that's why we saw that big increase from 2021. Then, you know, it dropped. The hype cycle was over, so it dropped down. Now we're waiting for the next one. The next halving is in April of 24. So the supply once again will be cut in half. Right now we're at 6.25. There'll be 3.125. It is going to trigger an entire another bull market. Bitcoin will be at 100,000. I think Ethereum will be past 10,000. So even if you missed out, yeah, I'm serious. I think Ethereum will be over 10,000 by the end of 24, early 25, maybe middle of 25 at the latest. And I say I got my whole life bet on it. So I know, you know, so that's how sure I am. That's how sure I am.
What about the smaller coins, Gala, Ape, of the top
So historically, when Bitcoin goes up, it drags all the other coins up with it. So, and a lot of times those coins will go up at a higher, like Bitcoin may go up, but Ethereum may go up 20%. Those other coins go up 300%, but they also take losses a lot harder than Bitcoin. Like if Bitcoin drops 20%, they're going to drop, maybe 50, 70%. So it's a correlation, but the smaller coins normally make more money, but they also lose more money. That's the risk. But I think with this next Bitcoin bull run, it's going to happen, start happening sometime, maybe late this year, maybe sometime in the middle of next year. We're going to see some crazy prices in these assets.
And finally, let's talk watches. One of the posts that I actually got to know about you from was Wealth post about watches, and you were actually quoted as saying that watches are an amazing investment when compared to real estate and gold. What's your take?
This is the way I look at watches, right? This is the way rich. I've been around. I learned a lot about how rich people think. I grew up poor, poor, a single mom in government housing, and it took me a long time to figure this out because I always was. You're taught one way about how wealth works. Then when you grow up, rich people like, I was all a lie. Oh, rich people don't wear this. Rich people save their money. No, they don't. They don't do that. They flaunt their money all the time. And some of them don't because they don't care. But the ones that care, yeah, they flaunt all the time. And I realized it wasn't just flaunting their wealth. It was a smart way to do it. Like if you want to save your money and you go into Walmart or some store or some cheap store and you buy a watch for $100, $50, that watch is not worthless when you put it on. It's zero. So your net worth just took $100 hit. So now you're negative 100. So a rich man goes in and buys a $40,000 Rolex. In a year, that Rolex is $50,000. His net worth went up 10,000 over the year. You lost 100. So he still has the watch. He still looks good. He's walking around with it. His net worth actually increased because he bought a Rolex and you bought a regular watch. And I started realizing that. I was like, oh, that's a good, that makes sense. Even artwork on the wall, a poor person goes to the store and puts some art on their wall, that art's worthless. Maybe go to a cheap store and buy some stuff. A rich man goes and puts fine works of art on his walls, and in 5 years, it doubled in price. Everything he's doing is increasing his net worth. Whatever he puts on his walls, not the cars, but the house he buys, the jewelry he wears, all of that's increasing his wealth. That's when I started taking a second look at watches.
Okay, for people who want to speculate on watches, what brands would you advise off the top of your head?
Rolex is always classic, because Rolex is never losing value. And the way that that company set up is that they only release so many a year. So it's not. I think somebody quoted it saying that Rolex is a non-profit anyway. So they don't even try to make a profit. They're just putting out a set amount of watches, and so it's a set supply. So Rolexes always go up, almost always. So Rolex and the cost is not extra like an AP or something like this. It may be cost prohibitive, but the average person could buy a couple of Rolexes if they really, really wanted to. And those Rolexes would appreciate in value. So I would tell somebody just start now. You can get Breitlings are good. They're a little bit cheaper, but they don't appreciate as much as a Rolex. Rolexes actually appreciate better than any other watch and consistently because of the price point and because everybody knows what a Rolex is. I don't care where you are in the world, but AP, some people may not know, or maybe different watches you may not, but everybody knows what a Rolex is and has the biggest brand recognition in the world.
Absolutely. So on a parting note, do you have anything you want to say to the people watching?
I was going to say, man, anybody follow this man. He's a genius, man. He's a very smart man. We met over the Rolex post, but I've been watching you, man. You're a leader in your space. I really respect you and look up to you, and I appreciate you having me on, man. Like I said, I'm going to keep following you. I'm going to keep listening to what you say. And like I said, I appreciate what you're doing, man.
All right. Thank you so much. And guys, please follow him. When it comes to financial advice,
follow him too.
Daily. I'm on that page on a daily.
How does
I want to remember how it starts.
This is huge news. Everything's.
Thank you so much, bro.
everything is huge news because every single news article, somebody's making money on the back end. I don't care what it is. A gun law got passed. Gun manufacturers make a lot of money. A gun law gets banned. Well, somebody else makes some money. They passed a new green law about, you know, you have to, like something with electric cars. Now Tesla makes a lot of money. So every news is huge news.
And if they go to war, some people are still going to
make some money. China goes to war, that's huge news because somebody's going to make billions. There's going to be a whole other set of millionaires because of a war somewhere.